The headlines are pouring in. Israel attacked and wounded UN peacekeeping troops in Lebanon. I can hear your confusion. There's peacekeeping troops in Lebanon. What on earth are they doing there? We'll break all of that down today, along with the tragic terrorist attack that happened in Israel's southern region this morning. I'm Ben, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome back to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. If you haven't yet already, go check out episode 3 of our adventure series that went live on Sunday here at the Israel Guys, all about the famous places in Israel that would be lost if a two-state solution were enacted in Judea and Samaria. So give that a watch after you finish this episode here. Before we get into what Israel did to peacekeeping troops in Lebanon, we should talk about why there are peacekeeping troops in Lebanon to begin with. Way back in the 1970s, the UN created the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, or UNIFIL, as most people call it, to help maintain peace between Israel and Lebanon. Representatives from dozens of nations wore the uniform of the UN and patrolled the border, trying to prevent escalation between Israel and the terrorists on the other side. Despite this progressive move, mounting terrorism by the PLO and their full-on attacks on northern Israel pushed Israel into a corner, and they invaded Lebanon in the early 1980s. Israel pushed the PLO and Syrian forces all the way back to Beirut, where they laid siege. Eventually, the terrorists were forced to capitulate. The PLO were exiled to other Arab countries, and the Syrian terrorists were sent to Syrian-occupied parts of Lebanon or back to Syria itself. Israel held a buffer zone of territory in Lebanon to prevent future attacks on their north, but slowly over the following years, this zone narrowed due to rising terrorist attacks against IDF forces and mounting casualties inside of the IDF. In the year 2000, the IDF withdrew completely to a newly formed blue line, which was a new border drawn by the UN between Israel and Lebanon. Again, UNIFIL promised to maintain security on the border, and again, this was an absolutely useless promise. In 2006, the now dominating terrorist group in Lebanon, Hezbollah, launched an attack on Israel. They attacked military positions, fired rockets into population centers, and kidnapped 2 Israeli soldiers. The UN condemned the attack. In response, Israel yet again invaded Lebanon after a month of fighting that severely limited the capabilities of Hezbollah. Israel accepted the UN ceasefire resolution 1701 and withdrew from Lebanon. They accepted the promise yet again. The UNIFIL would now keep the peace. According to that resolution, Hezbollah was supposed to withdraw from the border, leaving a security buffer zone between Israel and Lebanon. This zone would only be occupied by Lebanese military and, you guessed it, UNIFIL. Also, as you can guess, Hezbollah quickly broke that agreement and started amassing forces on Israel's border and entrenching underground. Again, UNIFIL did nothing. That brings us to today. Immediately after Hamas's attack on Israel back in October, Hezbollah also attacked Israel. They've been sending thousands and thousands of rockets into Israeli population centers, along with conducting raids over the border, terrorist attacks inside of Israel, and attacking with anti-tank and sniper fire. In response, Israel has officially invaded Lebanon for the 3rd time. So far, they've destroyed about 2/3 of Hezbollah's rocket munitions and eliminated Hezbollah's entire senior command structure. And now they're systematically mapping and destroying Hezbollah tunnels and bunkers entrenched along that border in that buffer zone that UNIFIL was supposed to be enforcing. This is a necessary step for Israel to be able to bring some semblance of peace back to their northern border, for the people to be able to return to their homes in cities in Israel's north. You can see part of what the IDF is up against in this video here.
We're now in the bunker that we found underneath a Lebanese house in a Shia village only a couple of kilometers from our border. This bunker was ready for Radwan forces, for a battalion of Radwan forces to enter into this bunker and do a raid into Israel and do a larger scale of massacre than the 7th of October. They were planned with the motorcycles here to go to Kiryat Shmona, to Iftach, to villages and positions inside Israel and conduct a massacre.
In a minute, we'll get into the details on Israel allegedly attacking UNIFIL troops. But first...
it says, I will bring you in from the four corners of the earth, and people will know that you are my people and that I am your God.
Discover for yourself the miracle of the land and the courageous hearts of the people of Israel.
I am 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 Israel.
Visit IamIsraelFilm.com to begin your journey.
Available now on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital download, I Am Israel is an epic film that will take you on a cinematic journey through the land of the Bible. You'll meet Jewish men and women whose very lives are a testimony to the promise of God, and you'll see with your own eyes the miraculous rebirth of the Promised Land. Screened in over 10,000 congregations worldwide, it is the award-winning film about Israel made for the followers of Jesus. Visit IamIsraelFilm.com to begin your journey. So as Israel carries out their mission to restore peace to their northern border, they're increasingly running into the useless UNIFIL operator stationed in southern Lebanon. On Thursday, there were reports that 2 peacekeepers were injured when Israeli tanks fired on an observation tower near the Blue Line. The world is condemning Israel for this, of course, as they always do, though Israel had just issued a warning to UNIFIL to clear out if they didn't want to get hurt. Despite being a worse than useless organization, they are now refusing to move. According to reports, UNIFIL members come from about 50 countries and are 10,000 strong in Lebanon right now. 10,000 strong, despite doing absolutely nothing to keep the peace, as is their mandate. And they're entrenched in Hezbollah positions. It's hard to say if Israel actually wounded 2 UNIFIL members, as is the report. It's hard to say if that report is true or not, but I'd say that it's very possible. As you can see in this video here, Hezbollah weapons caches are hidden just in this one video here, 500 meters from a UNIFIL observation post in Lebanon. Or in this video here on the Blue Line, a Hezbollah heavy tunnel dug just down the hill from another UNIFIL post. And Israeli soldiers are finding stuff like this all over the Blue Line and deeper in as well. This is crazy stuff here. Once again, the UN is being an absolutely garbage organization. You can't tell me that these heavy tunnels were dug just meters away from UNIFIL operation posts and they didn't know about it. By all appearances, they just let Hezbollah move into Israel's borders on the north without saying a thing. And by their presence there are actually hindering Israeli efforts to bring peace back to their northern borders once again. If it were up to me, Israel should physically kick UNIFIL out of Lebanon and do what they have to do to clean house. And if UNIFIL members get hurt in this war, since Israel gave them a warning to clear out, and since they're an absolutely garbage, corrupt, useless organization, if they get hurt, that is on them. Israel must restore peace to their northern border for Israelis, no matter what it takes. In other news this morning, there was a tragic terrorist attack in southern Israel. Apparently, a Palestinian from Gaza had entered Israel sometime last year before the war and stayed until now. This morning, he took a gun and approached Highway 4 near Ashdod and opened fire on a police officer, wounding him, and then started shooting at random cars on the highway, wounding another 4 people. You can see him here in this video. Thankfully, the terrorist was neutralized by an Israeli civilian before he was able to inflict any more damage. 2 of the civilians that were shot are listed as lightly injured right now, with the other 2 being injured more critically. The police officer, sadly, that was initially shot did die of his wounds on the way to the hospital. His name was Adir Kadosh. He was supposed to get married, according to reports, very soon, which is absolutely tragic. Guys, we cannot let up with our prayers for the 2 Israelis that are severely injured and the other 2 that are injured a little less severely, for their full recovery, God willing, and for the family of Adir. Also for the people of Israel right now that are facing enormous pressure from all of these fronts surrounding Israel. We need to continue to pray for complete victory for the people of Israel, God willing, once and for all of Israel's enemies to be destroyed, to be humbled down to the dust, and for peace to be restored to all of Israel's borders once again very soon. Guys, Sukkot is beginning tomorrow night, and as such, here at the Israel Guys, we will not be posting videos until the end of Sukkot the next week, unless, God forbid, there's something really serious that happens. We need to bring you a breaking news update. Don't forget to check out David Kern's amazing film, I Am Israel. The link is in the description below. As always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect with the truth of what is happening in Israel. We'll be back soon, and Chag Sameach from all of us here at the Israel Guys.